What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. OG here, and I wanted to talk about the new Gauntlet setup and the route it looks like EA Sports is taking, or at least experimenting with, which is much more about just participation rather than competing and looking to win. So I spoke in a different video, or actually I think that video is coming later on, so stay tuned for that. But I speak about some major changes that are going to shift the course of this franchise as a whole. And this is a major change if it sticks. We have to see, because up to this point, EA Sports actually went more towards the competitive route, lowering the champs games. Now, if you notice, every game counts. There's no more giveaway wins like there used to be when it was 20 games. Even before that, you had 25, 30, 40, whatever it was, right? The exact amount, can't remember. It's changed a few times, but now it's to the point where every single game counts, and champs is by far the sweatiest mode. Rivals, they went back a bit, but they've gone pretty competitive as far as rivals goes. I mean, FC Pro qualification used to be based in rivals. I guess somewhat it still is. It's just now a lot easier. You just have to get to a certain division. And then there's like a separate qualification thing within the game now as opposed to a third party. But everything EA Sports was doing went more competitive. So here we go with Gauntlet number 3, and they say, let's make this more about participation, meaning the first few gauntlets and tournaments were very sweaty. You had to win X amount of times, get perfect rounds, things like that. This time it was all about scoring goals and playing games as opposed to winning, right? There was about 10 objectives in there. You had to only complete 8, so they made that something as well. So for me, I completed this faster, much faster than any of the other events, and it wouldn't have mattered if they did it this way or did it by wins, because I literally won every game except for one, a terribly laggy stream game that I tested, and that failed miserably. But that's a whole nother topic regarding not being able to stream because it lags out my gameplay so bad. But every other game I won handily, and so you can look at it like, if they kept a competitive route, players like myself, I'd be fine, right? I'd still win these rewards, which, by the way, are the best rewards right now. We'll see once they implement the change back to higher quality rewards in Rivals and Champs. But right now, the events, tournaments, gauntlets, they provide the best rewards and honestly the most fun experience. There's players out there that are now not even playing Rivals or not even playing Champs because of the lack of rewards for how much effort goes in, right? So now more than ever, those types of players are going to love if EA sticks to this route. So if you look at it the other way, though, you could say that the gameplay itself was more enjoyable and easier in a way because the rats weren't out in full effect. I mean, you could literally complete this just by participating, like I said, so there's no need to be a rat or be sweaty, since you had plenty of attempts, and win or lose, you pretty much got credit, if you will. As long as you at least scored, which in this game, you know, that's gonna happen. Even if you get whooped, you're a lot of times gonna score. So very easy to complete for everybody. And I will say it was enjoyable, but for me, I can't differentiate since I did have a good record, right? However, like maybe a lower level player, let's say they went 500 or under 500, and they still get all these rewards, and they get a pretty good Benzema card. We're going to talk about him in a second, but then some excellent packs, at least just for fodder. I got Claudia out of it. It was probably my best pull, not my highest rated, but probably best player. And then other than that, it was just great fodder. But you get these lower level players that don't typically get these rewards. Of course, they're going to love this. However, it does feel a little bit like participation trophies in real life, which I can't stand. I think you should, when you compete in anything, you should have to earn whatever you get, earn your trophies, earn your rewards. And so in that case, I don't really like it. And I don't mind playing football and competing every single game. That's what it's about. Even if every game's sweaty, the only thing that I can't stand is that what happens is it pulls out the rats. It pulls out the players that will do anything for a win, and the game turns into not football at all. In these highlights, you could see for yourself, but I try to always play football because there's no point to be a rat. There's no point to go for any type of shortcut goals, any type of glitchy goals, which I'll give EA Sports credit. They got rid of a lot of the nonsense, but there's still ratty stuff that can be done. And the players that utilize that stuff, they come out of the woodwork when, there's more competitive situations, such as the champs or rivals and how tournaments and gauntlets were. So you, in a way, get rid of that, right? So I am a fan of that part, even though no matter how competitive the game is, players should play a football game to play football. It's pointless whether you win or not to take shortcuts and to be a rat. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that apparently don't share that same philosophy. So with that being said, it was extremely enjoyable. The gameplay overall was excellent. There wasn't, like I said, I had one laggy game. Some games weren't as good as others, but they were at least decent. Every game was playable, and long and behold, the only game I lost was that lagged out game when I was streaming. Won every other game handily. You're seeing some of the highlights from the entire gauntlet. And so, in that respect, especially compared to the bad gameplay I've been getting in champs and in most games in champs, I should say, and then in most games in rivals, I mean, you can't compare. I don't know if it's because more people that are in a closer location to me are competing in these events or what it is, or because they open up. Maybe it's not as restrictive since I'm in a higher division. You got to match players in your division, and in champs you got to match a certain player, and maybe in the events they've opened up matchmaking more, so there is going to be more local competition. It's not as strained, if you will. So who knows what it is? I'm sure it has something to do with that, but either way, these modes that EA Sports added are definitely W. It was nice to complete it pretty quick. Now I can move on to, honestly, I'm about halfway through my champs. I'm not at the rewards upgrade, and my rivals, not champs. And I haven't been playing much rivals, but now because of how fast I completed the gauntlet, maybe I will go in there and go in there and go ahead and finish and get my rewards upgrade. So I think a lot of people are going to be fans of this new method of completing these, where it's more participation, easier to get the objectives, and I think they'll end up continuing on with this. We will see what the masses say, if you will. I'd love to know what you think in the comment section on if you like it more competitive or more participation, where pretty much everyone will get the objectives. You can be more laid back. It's not as important if you win or lose, which is a far cry from playing those sweaty matches game after game, because everybody wants the kudos, or everybody wants, it doesn't matter, it could be literally a 5'2" women's goalkeeper that no one's going to use, and when there's rewards at stake based on winning, the rattiness, the sweatiness comes out, right? Part of it's competitive nature, but then again, when you're taking shortcuts, it's like that's not competing. So I don't know what it is, but I would say that this way of playing, in my humble opinion, definitely gets rid of some of the rattiness, which is a good thing. Now let's get to the rewards. The best one, of course, depending on how you look at it, but let's say the top reward you can get for the group, the Benzema card, who has had his moments where he's meta even after his prime, especially as a cam where that lack of explosive speed isn't going to hurt him that bad. So you see here we were able to earn Benzema along with some cosmetic evolution cards. And I had high hopes for him, right? Like I said, in the past, he's had his time being meta, and I thought with this type of gameplay that we have right now, he would fit perfectly, similar to a Rogers. He doesn't have the Enforcer, though, and with his stats, the low-driven plus is ridiculously broken, so being able to get in and get some shots off, having great passing as well, I thought he would be great. The only problem that I found is that he's a bit clunky on the ball, and without Enforcer, that's something that I've gotten used to using with Rogers. It makes a difference for sure. So not quite as good as I expected. For me personally, he becomes a super sub. I definitely put him above Gauntlet, who I had previously as my backup to Rogers, but definitely not above Rogers. I would love to have low driven plus on Rodgers. Both of them have excellent passing. I would actually say Benzema's passing is his best, his strongest suit. I mean, he was laying in beautiful balls over the top on the ground, and he just has incisive regular, not incisive plus, but you wouldn't think so when he passes the ball. It's beautiful. So that was a surprise. I thought his finishing would be his best thing, and he is a very good finisher. Don't get me wrong, but I was a little definitely, disappointed in how he performed compared. I thought he'd for sure beat out Rodgers. It just isn't the case. As you see there, I make the switch. So overall, though, still a very good card. He does make the squad as a sub. Don't take my word for it, though. Don't take anybody's word for any of their player reviews. You can get their opinions if you're not sure after using them, but make sure you use the player yourself. Everybody plays differently. Everybody's looking for a different things. So Benzema may be a superstar for you. It's why you see all the mixed comments all the time in Footbin, because each player has what they like. Right? So with that being said, we will see how EA Sports does this going forward. I would say overall it's a good improvement based on how they did the Gauntlet. But again, I want to know what you think in the comment section, and if this video was helpful or enjoyable, please smash that like button. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. Check out my YouTube bio for all types of ways you can contribute to the channel. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you next time. Peace